what advice can you give for guys to last longer in bed?
Well, I'll speak to that one quickly. First thing, first thing, uh, if you don't own a wand type vibrator that you are happy to bring to bed with you and your partners, I consider this a serious faux pas, serious mistake on your part if you don't have a good plugged into the wall rather than battery style, something along the lines of a Hitachi magic wand or Wanachi or something along those lines, because women will appreciate that you're willing to do whatever it takes to ensure they have a great time. But also, this can be used by yourself while fantasizing or watching erotic material or whatever to help you gauge your point of no return sexually, and then teach yourself as you're approaching this point of no return, where after you go any further from this point, you're definitely going to be ejaculating, so that you can build up your knowledge and insight on what's going to get you off, and then know when you need to back off. This is the simplest way of giving yourself a greater amount of control over when you ultimately allow yourself to get to the final stages of ejaculation. You can do this whether or not you use a toy that will bring you off, whether you want it to or not, or you do this just with masturbation. You can teach yourself what it's going to take to get you to the point where you would not be able to prevent yourself from getting off, and then lift the toy off of you or stop your stroking or whatever to force yourself to get your head back in the game and hold off on concluding too quickly. Eventually, you will reach a point. I went through a tantric phase like Marcus had done, where the decision to get off has to have been made, and you have to really intend to be able to finally get yourself to that closure moment. But you can have lots of great orgasm without having ejaculation. In fact, you can have sometimes better orgasms without ejaculating at all. However, when you finally get to the point where they match up with one another, and you can be a serious decorator with with your final ejaculations, this goes a long way both for you and for your partners. But as far as it goes, the simplest way to pre-educate yourself, kind of like doing Kegel muscle exercises or whichever, is to learn what it's going to take to, using, if you like, cognitive behavioral therapy, recognize when you've reached a point at which you're going to be triggered to actually go through the final parts of ejaculation, and stop yourself so that you can get yourself back into a state in which you can keep going without having that final result. There's also the Kaplan method, which is simply where you reach down, you grab both your testicles in one of your hands and pull them away from your body, pull them down from your scrotum, which will reduce your imminency. You can keep going longer by simply reaching down every once in a while as you're getting closer to your ejaculation and pulling down on both your balls, extending your cremaster muscle, which is the muscle that lifts your testes back up to your body to ensure you have sufficient warmth to keep your swimmers alive when you're out in the real world or when you're having sex in preparation for ejaculation. And this will allow you to keep going for quite a bit longer. Just have to keep doing it.
Mhm.
Anybody else want to pick up?
I was going to mention the psychological aspect. I think the vast majority of guys who have both like what pre-ejaculatory problems or ED issues or anything like that, the vast majority of these problems are psychological. And I think that once, like my guys, I'm always teaching them to harness their lust, right? Because when you have very high lust, it starts controlling your body, and you start losing control of your body. And so a great way to harness that and to be able to last longer is by controlling your lust. And this has, many chain links all the way deeper into your psychology about, well, like, why is this in the case? right? Like very similar to like stuff like nice guy syndrome and stuff like that. Like you take certain points in the behavior and they link all the way back to something very fundamental within the guy's psychology. And so I think that there's a great benefit to harnessing one's lust. And and then this also has other benefits in this besides lasting longer, but it also allows you to lead better. Because if you're controlled by lust, it's very difficult to actually be dominant, right? Because you are now submissive to lust, right? So it prevents you from being able to plan, be able to create scenes, to lead with your intellect rather than your horniness. And I think that it can help, because not completely, because there very much might be a physiological thing going on, but I think it's an extremely helpful skill to try to harness one's lust and staving off, sort of like edging, right? It's like psychological edging with your own desire. And the more you do this, the more comfortable you get with it to the point where like she could be doing all kinds of crazy stuff or ready and showing you all of her desire and the things, and it just doesn't phase you. And you're like, okay, and this has tremendous effect to her because to what Marcus was talking about, with the like the blowjob thing, like I'm not really into that sort of thing. It's the same vibe. It's like, wait a second, you know, and then things rise up. And if you can maintain that stability, that groundedness within your own desire, you gain pretty much like all the chips. Like everything is in your pot. And then you decide, okay, how am I going to divvy this out? Which way, what style, how do I want it to formulate, right? Um, so I think that's a huge thing. But I will say that for young guys, I get it. It's tough because your hormones are raging like crazy. The experiences are new. You're excited. Your emotions are involved, and it can be tough. But I would just say practice in edging your desire.
Similar to what you said, I
Yeah.
remember if we call it like a high score, my high score is 4.5 hours, and it's great, but you're not really going to have time to do that every single time. So it's just like okay to do something like that every once in a while, or just once, even so. But what helped me was just to give my personal experience. Uh, when you're some guys are just too into it, just like you were saying. If you think of something completely random and non-sexual while you're doing it, then that helps not ejaculating too quickly or like for the first hour or something. Even for 20 minutes if you're relatively new to this. It's funny because this was happening when I was younger to my high score. And I told my friends about it, and they never believed me, and they bullied me because of it. But they're lost. I'm the one who's doing better. Yeah, keep going. What are some other tips for lasting longer?
Yeah, okay. So I think the first thing here for guys listening is to realize that you don't need to be having penetrative sex for hours on end. I think like understanding what normal is, most guys are coming within 3 to 7 minutes. If you look at survey data, most women say what's desirable is like 7 to 13 minutes. Now, personal experience, I completely disagree with this. I think that most women are saying that. I've just got guys that are just literally just fucking them, and that's the only thing they're doing. And so after 13 minutes, they're like, okay, well, I'm kind of getting a bit sore and dry. I'm bored of this. I think I've been with girls that are very heavily involved in Tantra, and you can fuck on and off for hours and hours and hours. Even just girls off Tinder dates seem to want to at least have like the sexual time go for a lot longer. I agree, penetration, if you're just like fucking the same rhythm, the same thing, 13 minutes is a fucking long time. Imagine if you just got a dildo and did this to 13 minutes on a girl, she's going to get very bored, tired, and disinterested. So, number one is just understanding what is like a reasonable expectation. You don't have to fuck for hours. I think 7 to 13 minutes is fine. And then you can break that up within you can then break it up and be spanking or adding some dominance there, or you could be eating her out, or you could mixing something up. You can move to a different room. That's fine. So if you're a guy that lasts 10 minutes, you're completely good. Don't worry about it. The next thing is if you're a guy lasting like 30 seconds or a minute, then this is where I think about what the guy said. How do I reduce the sensation that I'm feeling in my cock right now? So adding a thicker condom, using more lube so there's less friction there. You can also shift the tension, which is what I spoke about. So oftentimes people teach focus on your breath. If you're fucking a girl really hard, you're not going to be able to focus on your breath that well. But you can start to focus on aspects of her that aren't the most attractive thing about her. So if you're a boobs guy and her tits are bouncing up and down and you're like, damn, these tits are, don't look at her tits, all right? Just move your eyes away to somewhere else. If you're in your mind right now and she's dirty talking or something and it's driving you fucking crazy, yeah, I tell her to shut the fuck up, okay? Listen, no more talking. Put a fucking gag in her mouth. Like, whatever you find is your tipping point, what's really, really shift the attention away from that. If you can focus on your breath, go for it. Otherwise, yeah, there's PC muscle exercises. Again, there's literature on this that has found that it increases the time to ejaculation. Taking breaks is the best thing you can do. If you are lasting 2 minutes, then just take 5 breaks and now you got yourself to 10 minutes, right? Like if you're about to come, all you have to do is whisper in the girl's ear and say, I love your fucking pussy. I just want to eat you out. That's all I want to fucking do. And then when you're about to come, you stop fucking her and now you eat a pussy. It's a lot better than like, hey, babe, I'm about to come. Please stop. It's very unattractive. So just find an excuse to either switch positions, change rooms. As I said, like eat her out, spank her. Just use breaks as your advantage here. And then lastly, what Johnny spoke about was the mindful masturbation aspect. So this is outside of sex. This is your preparation. And it's your practice ground. The way you masturbate is going to be the way that you fuck. If you're putting on porn and you're just jerking off and you're hitting like 1 minute, I'm coming and then I'm good, then don't be surprised when now there's a girl in front of you and after 1 minute you're fucking coming. So when you're watching porn or you're what I prefer is like read erotica or visualizing is like this is practice for the real thing. Imagine the real fucking thing. Like if you're using condoms, I put a fucking condom on, whatever. Like try simulate it as much as possible. Have the same fucking playlist going. And then when you get close, start to implement these things. Shift your attention away, right? Start focusing on something else. Think about your breath. Take a break. And you'll get a real sense now of how to actually control that buildup that you have. And you might look to change your rhythm. Instead of just going like, this is my perfect thing that gets me to coming, is switch that up. Go a bit slower when you're getting excited or speed up at the beginning and then slow down. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to do this. These are all great, but you have to want to do it. So what I mean by that is some guys just want to get in and fuck the girl and that's it. Just keep in mind, you do that, you're probably not going to fuck her again. So if you want to last longer, here are some easy ways you can do it, start applying it, and it will help quite a lot. There shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
That
I
made
just
a
want to
lot,
dovetail
that
on
made so
something.
much sense when you said about it's like a reflection how you treat porn is like how your sex is going to end up in terms of simulation. That kind of explains like how I was able to last longer because I wasn't doing things normally. I was I don't want to seem weird or anything, but I'll just
There,
say
there's
I
no there's
was
no way
doing
of
the
avoiding
There's
it. We're,
and there's
we're
no
all
weird
weird.
with this group, I'm sure.
Fucking Gunnar over here, just edging himself all night.
Just
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, I think it's
just
great.
own your
So
shit, whatever it might be.
yeah.
I wanted to just dovetail off of what Marcus was just saying, like said something really important, and I just want to highlight a little bit. The idea of getting away from porn and replacing that with erotica. Because if you go to like a porn site, you look at the video length of these things, they're all very short, right? And this again, like what he's saying, it conditions the mind to, it's basically like Pavlovian sort of stuff to yourself over and over and over, right? So it's replacing that with something that has to do with drawing things out. And if you there's a lot of really good erotica out there. I would actually suggest guys get into writing erotica, and that has, you know, multitudes of benefits. But there's a, it teaches you to draw things out, and it can also just help with your own imagination when you're approaching situations. But it teaches you to kind of like hold off and brings things more just away from simple penile stimulation and starts engaging different parts of your mind to get to a similar place of arousal. So guys, like I would suggest just stop watching porn and replace it with erotica. And you can like just say like do a Google search with Reddit and just say like best erotica writers 2025 Reddit. And there's subreddits that are completely dedicated to erotica. And you know, you'll be able to pick up like all kinds of great authors to start reading.
Damn, that's such an interesting point. Like, imagine like a 2 or 3 hour production. Basically doesn't exist almost. That's an incredible point. The short length of
Well,
the
because when
videos.
girls read those, because they love that shit, that's more so porn for women. When they read those things, the sex act begins when they open that cover because they're already with this mindset of like, okay, this whole thing is just this fantasy world, and even if it starts off mundane, they're already prepared with this idea that it's a sexual story, and the whole thing is built up.